You're watching Sonic Eclectic Presents. I'm Seven. Today we have Jerry Craft. How you doing, Jerry?
I'm good. How are you?
Cartoonist, brilliant writer, producer, publisher. How many titles do you hold, sir?
I like to do what's fun, so you put those up there and you put dad and friend and all that kind of stuff. So depending on the day, that's what I'm doing. So it's all good.
That's awesome. So you're the creator of Mama's Boys, correct?
Mama's Boys, yep. It's a strip that King Features first picked up back in, it's been a while, it's like 1995. And I've done 3 books. The first one was in 97, the second one was in 2007, because I hadn't realized that 10 years had gone by. And then I did the last one a couple years ago, and now I'm going to start working on the next one, because I actually have kids going, hey, where's the next book? And that actually kind of surprised me because I know that my kids are always looking for like the next in series of different things. So to have kids come up and say, hey, when's the next one, kind of gets me motivated.
That's cool. Now you branched out also to work on some socially conscious books. Specifically, I'm talking about Please Don't Yell at We. How'd you come across that?
Please Don't Yell at We. I was approached by a woman named Sabrina Carter, who we've since become friends, and she wrote. What I like about her is that she writes books that are as much for parents as they are for the kids. So when it's something like this and you're reading it, and this is like, because she heard like a crash in the kitchen one day, and she goes in and she sees her kids and they had broken something, and she does that, and the little girl looks up and goes, please don't yell at we, and the boy goes, yeah, I didn't mean it. And when she looked to see like how scared they were and stuff, it's like, you know what, kids break stuff, they lose stuff, they get dirty, and I did it as a kid, I'm sure you did it as a kid, so she likes to write books that really, as parents are reading it with their kids, they're like, you know what, I could actually chill out a little bit and take it easy and just enjoy them being kids, because that's what they do.
Right.
She did another one that I did with her called Please Won't You Listen to Me, and that is about parents like us that are always busy texting and on Facebook, and you got the BlackBerry and you got the iPhone, you got all this, and the kid's like, hey, I got an A+ in school today, and again, to kind of say, look, make some family time, because this is really important. My boys now are 13 and 15, and I look now, and my 15-year-old is taller than me, and it's like, wow, where did that go? So it really is about getting parents to say, look, enjoy them while they're young, set that foundation, that groundwork, and then they'll be around so you can enjoy them when they're older as well.
So would you consider the body of work, would they be considered kids books, or do more, from what you're saying, they're more family?
You know what, this one is probably young readers, so kids who are reading on their own for the first time, and even lap kids. I remember reading to my boys when they were babies, before they even knew what was going on. So I would say like that. But then I have books, the Mama's Boys books are literally from about
live broadcast. Let's see.
I actually have 18 now. When you talk about the social consciousness,
say that again, because we lost you for a second. We lost you with the feed. You said they were about.
Yeah, like with the Mama's Boys books, they're about from 8 years old, and I have even people who are 18, 19, because I put different layers of stuff. So in one of the books I had where Yusuf, who's 16, had to take care of a baby for the weekend. So for an 8-year-old, it's funny because, you see him getting peed on by the baby and burped on and all that stuff. But for an 18-year-old, when they look at it from a different perspective of like just how much work it is to raise a baby, and just to get them to stop, or, in Mama's Boys, The Big Picture, showing an adult who's like 80 years old that has a tattoo on his face. That, it was cool when he was 18, but now he's 81, and it's like, yeah, this looks like I've got some kind of disease now, or something, So those are the kind of things. that I do. Khalil's Way, written by David Miller, is about a boy who has a problem with a bully at school. You know, so that's kind of a big thing now. So this is about kids who are bullied and how he tries to come up with a way, you know, because he can't fight them. He can't physically fight them because the kids are bigger, but trying to use his mind, you know, to come up with another approach. And then the most recent one is The Offenders, which I did with my boys. Wow. And this is also about bullying, but it's a little different because it's written from the perspective of the bullies. So it's basically like 5 middle school kids who are kind of the jerks in their school.
Right.
And they get superpowers because I want to make it exciting for kids. But instead of them turning into real cool superheroes like, you know, Spider-Man and Silver Surfer and, you know, Nova and those kind of guys, they actually resemble the kids that they bully. So the kid, the overweight kid, gets really, really overweight. You know, the kid whose parents are dentists, so he always snaps on kids with buck teeth or whatever. You know, he gets like razor sharp teeth that are like 6 inches long. You know, so instead of Wolverine, he looks like a the Beaverine. You know, so it's a silly thing, but it has some real life lessons about bullying, so that even kids can be like, you know what? Actually, you know, when I pushed so and so, and he fell down, and everyone laughed at him, it was funny for me, but maybe it wasn't that funny because, you know, just to get them empathy, thinking about some of the things that they do, some of the actions and the reactions that happen.
What has been the biggest obstacle to, in reference to creating these stories, making them entertaining, but also getting people to walk away with something?
Getting them to walk away with the book. That's the big thing. Because, you know, like, even with The Offenders, you know, like my son, my 13-year-old, just did an interview on Huffington Post Live, HuffPost, and he got to talk to Drew Pearce, who wrote Iron Man 3. And he got to, you know, and then Jason Segel was there, an actor. So talking, and so people will write all the time, hey, this is great, we need more books like this, you know, pat on the back, great, rah, 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 all that. But then they don't order the book. And it's like, well, I can't make more books like this if I have a garage full of, you know, my old books. So I can't even pull my car into my garage.
Right.
You know, because as a small publisher, as an independent publisher, you know, when you talk about recycling the dollars, I really recycle the dollars. So, you know, if you spend $12 for The Offenders, that goes into account so that, you know, when I need to either reprint them or work on the next book, that's what I need to do. So I'm really recycling. So me more than anybody, you know, like when I do the Harlem Book Fair or ECBAC or some of these other conventions, you know, and I know times are hard, you know, and some people financially just can't deal, you know, can't do with that. But if you're talking about, you know, you go out and buy your kid a $70 Xbox game and then wonder why he doesn't read, you know, as a parent, you have to kind of encourage them and give them stuff that they will want to read.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, so that's a big obstacle.
That is a big obstacle. Yeah, that's not easy. Where would you like all this to go? Like, where is your vision for your creativity?
You know, I really like to do things, projects that make a difference. You know, the newest one that I'm working on now is called Positive Force, and he's a 16-year-old superhero that lives in Harlem, and he and his dad, so it's a black kid and his dad, are actually trying to, you know, make an impact in their community, but not by beating people down, because, you know, you can't beat down people who are already beaten down sometimes. So kind of an uplifting thing. So there's more of a mental thing, although there is some action. You know, ideally I'd like to be able to get into a comfort zone with the stuff that I can create, so I know that, okay, in 6 months from now, I can still create the next book or Offenders 2 or whatever, and you won't walk by and I'm like, you know, stacking lima beans at Walmart because, you know, I had to pay that bill, you know, pay that light bill.
Right.
ideally, the cartoons that are out on TV are not the kind of stuff that I like to do. They go more for silly, and so I don't think that you'll see these on Cartoon Network or anything. But it is cool how a lot of the books that my kids read have made the leap right to movies. So whether it's Diary of a Wimpy Kid or the Percy Jackson movies or something like that, so that would be like obviously a really cool thing to do. So that's I'll have to find out a little bit more about that and see if I can get into the right circles for that.
All right, well, can you give us your website?
Yep, my website is easy, and that's just jerrycraft.net, JERRYCRAFT.net, and my email, jerrycraft@AOL.com, so I keep it simple.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to keeping abreast of what you're doing. Thank you so much for being a part of our Sonic Eclectic world. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Craft, please go to his website, check that out, and support the artist. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.